this, whatever, depends how long you've been cramming on it.
Yeah.
And it's because what happens is the way you ride, you're putting pressure on the lateral aspect of your hand, and it's compressing on Guyon's canal, which is compressing on the ulnar nerve. So you're creating a nerve palsy. You're actually damaging the nerve when you're doing it.
What if you have the U handles, the ones that go under? Is it still?
I mean, if you're going under, then you're going to probably put more stress here in
Yeah, sometimes I'll feel
the thenar, the web space. But if you're on top of the bars, then you're here. Just get a tri-bike and you can lay down. It's so much more comfortable.
This scared me.
Nobody got money for that. All right, so palmar aponeurosis, palmar brevis, palmaris brevis, extension of palmaris longus tendon forms 4 longitudinal digital bands. So the palmaris longus we talked about coming from up here. Again, if you take your hand and kind of overlay it, we've got pronator teres. Palmaris longus is your middle finger in the middle. And then these two, what are these? If you remember, the most superficial layers of muscles. So pronator teres, palmaris longus is up the middle. Flexor,
Digitor?
carpi, radialis, and ulnaris. Right? So flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris. So palmaris longus. Palmaris longus has a unique kind of a insertion point because it doesn't really go into the bone. It actually goes into the palmar fascia of the hand to help pull everything up. So that palmar aponeurosis, that palmar fascia here, is extension of that palmaris longus tendon. Then beyond that, we have this really cool structure up here. This is a finger. It's been pleasantly cut. What are we looking at? There's a number 1 here, which sits on this tendon right there. There's a number 2 that comes in up here, and it seems like it splits around the number 1 and it starts here. So
Digit?
this is what? What bone? Distal
Phalange?
phalange. What is this one? Middle phalange and proximal phalange. Yay. All right, so let's do joints then. What joint is right here?
Tarsal phalange?
Well, I guess what's this bone back here? That's a metacarpal. So that makes this what joint? Metacarpal phalangeal joint. MCP. That's your big knuckle. So the big knuckle is your metacarpal phalangeal joint. What is this joint here? Proximal interphalangeal. It's your PIP. Proximal interphalangeal. And that makes this one your DIP, distal interphalangeal. So MCP is your big knuckle, and your first 2 goes your proximal, your PIP joint, and then your DIP joint. What tendon is this, do you think?
Digitalis?
What'd you say?
The digitalis? What is it
Digitalis is a medication, I believe. It's for heart conditions.
Sounds like a muscle.
Is that Digitor? Did you mean Digitor?
All right,
Yeah,
so
the
and
Digitor
is
is
this
right.
volar or dorsal?
Palmar.
Palmar. Palmar works too. Volar or dorsal? Volar. So volar and dorsal is representing the front and the back of the body, right? You heard a dorsal fin on a dolphin. That's how I always remember it, and we don't mess them up. Dorsal fins are on the back. That means the volar plate, volar side, volar surface is on the palmar side as well. So we're looking at the volar side, the palmar side. So let's work through what tendon this is. What tendon is that? Flexor, digitorum, See, now we got a 50-50 guess, right? Because we've got two different flexor digitorums. So let's figure out what are those two first. It's not longus and brevis on this.
Dang it.
I'll give you a hint. There's the initials. Superficialis, and the other one is profundus. It's profound. Truly, truly profound. So, superficialis, this one is the stronger muscle. This one has most of your grip strength. This one, superficialis does. It's more superficial. It's a bigger muscle. It has more power. If you take your hand again and put it here, you've got pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis, you've got flexor carpi ulnaris, and then palmaris longus. If we ignore palmaris longus or go directly underneath it, then we're going to end up with FDS. Flexor digitorum superficialis is right underneath that very next layer, it's the intermediate layer. So the other one is FDP, which is the deepest. Flexor digitorum profundus is the one that's most farthest in, closest to the bone. It gives us the fine motor motion. So if FDS can flex your PIP joint, FDP gives you fine motor control. Got it? So then look back at the picture. Which is one, which is two? FDS is which?
This is 2. 2.
Give me a number. FDS is superficialis is which?
2.
Oh, there's a number 2 right here, and there's a number 1 right here. All the way around. So this one's tricky because usually the deeper muscle is going to insert first because they kind of just go over each other. But this one's tricky because in the hand, FDS, which is more superficial, actually splits, and then FDP runs up through the middle. So FDS is inserting into the middle phalange. It crosses over the PIP joint, so it gives you this motion. And then FDP goes through that tendon out to the distal phalange to give you that small motion. Because if you go back and think about, say, peroneus longus, peroneus brevis, longus starts first and it ends last. Like a peroneus brevis starts about mid-shaft and then it ends sooner because it's underneath it. But this one is a weird case because at FDP, whereas it starts deeper, it actually ends further out because of that split in that tendon. So here we can see that FDP goes in and splits right in through the FDS tendon. Now on the other side of it, if we look here, we've got the lumbricals which come off the tendon of, the origination point for the lumbrical is actually off the tendon for FDP. And then it goes into what they call the extensor hood. Likewise, here's a dorsal interossei which blends in as well, giving the abduction, adduction. The extensor hood is just a common extensor tendon to bring everything up. So we've got multiple directions of pull on one tendon sheath because it's so broad and involved. So extensor digitorum comes in, but off of that extensor digitorum is the blending in from the lumbricals and the rest of the ligamentous tissue that comes in off of the dorsal interossei and the palmar interossei. So you can see if you get into occupational therapy, there's a lot going on to teach this kind of, well, teach how to recover that.